Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is December 30th. We are at the second last day of the year and of the decade. And I believe that January 2020 is going to prove to be a really, really interesting month. Okay, so first, I released just prior to this one a guided message video titled Guidance and Hope. If you're interested in those channeled messages, please take a moment to take a look at it and let me know what you think. But right now, turning back sort of to political readings, insights, guidance, and information, I thought that I would take a look at January 2020. And it's sort of broad what I'm looking. I want to look at Trump. I want to look at the Republicans, and I want to look at the Democrats and see if we can get kind of a story or a sense of what the coming month is going to look like. Okay. Oh, and before I forget, for those of you who haven't heard, Representative John Lewis, who is an amazing man, has released information that he has been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So if you are inclined, please send a prayer his way, send, white and green healing lights. It is going to be sad to see him leave the earth, just as it was sad to see Elijah Cummings leave. But take comfort and know that certainly Elijah Cummings is just simply continuing his work at a different vibration. And when the time comes for John Lewis to leave, he also will continue his work at a higher vibration. But for now, let's not think about him leaving. Let's think about sending him love, light, and healing energy. Okay. So let's take a look. Let's just take a look and see what's going to happen in January. Come on down. I have a question. Okay, so let's see. January 2020, Trump, Republicans, Democrats. January 2020, Trump, Republicans, Democrats. January 2020, Trump, Republicans, Democrats. There we go. Okay, so let's start here. Okay, so right now, one of the things that we're dealing with energetically, I mean, this card tends to talk about literally someone, stealing and walking away, getting away with the theft. And certainly that is something that Trump and some of his Republican cohorts are very definitely trying to do, whether they are trying to steal assets, money, property, whether they are trying to steal people's sanity and sense of safety and security. They have not been able, the collective they, have not been able to kind of get Trump under control or help him find his own sense of control, okay? This is a man who spins out of control. It's what he does, and he's got those people around him screaming, "Let Trump be Trump." And so, welcome to the pit of snakes Trump being Trump has created. So you're going to see more of that energy, more really blatant, in your face kind of behavior, because in some ways they really don't have much else to work with. there is a sense that how can I say this? Not only physical health, but also mental health. That there is definitely a deterioration happening, and it's going on not only with Trump, but I believe with some of the people that surround him, because they have sort of immersed themselves into this place of sort of greed and hate and divisiveness and that whole bag. And when you stay immersed in a place of such sort of negative energy and harmful energy, it does start to come back on you. And so what you're seeing now is the manifestation of that taking place mentally and physically. And we're not even going to talk about spiritually with some of these people. And so don't be surprised if you start to hear about certain members of the Republican Party who, are sick or not feeling well, or, just they're under the weather, or they're more importantly or more likely that they're starting to say things, honestly, that kind of bordered on deranged, okay? They've taken unhinged to a level, I swear, not ever seen before in politics. So that's kind of going on there. You've got, this is representing Nancy Pelosi, okay, my Queen of Wands, the brilliant communicator, brilliant ideas, standing firm in her seat of power. And she is going to continue to stand firm. She is absolutely determined to steer this ship, meaning the country, into something that more closely resembles what the country has always been. So she's going to continue that work as the Trump Republicans continue their work. So you can see these four cards really are divided and telling two very, very different stories of intention. So what does January bring us? Okay, well, it brings us more truth. It brings us more law and order. It brings some strength to the government, and I would not be surprised if part of that strength that is coming to the government is actually coming from the people who are starting to demand and are going to become more and more peacefully vocal about the fact that this is not acceptable. This is not how we want this conducted. This is not how we want this country to function. And there's going to be an increase, and I'm sure a significant amount of it is probably going to be started from some of you fine folks, of messaging and communications with your government representative's office saying, do this right, do right by the people. This is not acceptable. This is not a country where you must win by completely destroying what the country was built on and based on. So there's going to be an increase of support coming for the government. And frankly, there's going to be not only more sort of legal stuff coming out, but I actually see, more journalistic information coming out, more insight. They're going to be fleshing out the stories and rounding out the information so people continue to get more and more insight into exactly what the heck has been going on. Do not be surprised. Right now, it looks like the Democrats are actually sort of juggling the idea of bringing another article of impeachment. They're certainly investigating that avenue. And do not be surprised if you continue to hear a little bit more information, more kind of rumblings about that kind of thing going on, because there is definitely the potential for that to happen. People who think that the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi in particular are sort of resting on their laurels are wrong. They have honestly only just begun. And I honestly, just as I was saying those words, I got a picture in my head of a lobster in a pot of hot water, and kind of the lobster doesn't actually realize that it's being cooked to death because the heat increases slowly. And that is sort of literally what I see her doing. She is continuing to raise the heat and strengthen their side. And because she is doing it in her fashion, which is quietly and with dignity, there's some of it they're actually not catching. And you know what? Shame on them, because the likes of Mitch McConnell has been in government with her for a really long time. And even if they do not agree on policy, he should at least have brains enough to respect her political savvy. And somewhere along the way, he's decided that that isn't, kind of what he wants to do. And so he's starting to diminish it or disregard it. And he does that at his peril. There is so much illumination, so much light that is going to be shed on things that we know about and things that have not yet even broken the surface over the next 4 to 6 weeks. You're going to see a real increase in news stories, an increase of information just in terms of exactly how deep and corrupt and frankly vicious what has been going on and what it looks like. It's starting to crack, okay? And because it's starting to crack, you've got more light coming through. And the more light that comes through, frankly, that creates bigger cracks. But you also have more and more people getting information that was in the dark or under shadow before. And so as the citizens of the United States, it's sort of time to refocus and to start to pay attention to kind of the new news, if you will, okay? Some of the old stuff and the ranting and ravings of the Republicans I get make people crazy because it makes me crazy. But there's going to be new news, new information coming out over the course of the next, as I said, 4 to 6 weeks. And you're going to want to actually start paying attention to that because there's going to be a lot to digest. And as that information continues to come out, you're going to see more and more stress and anxiety going on, not only with Trump and him acting out, but with the Republicans, because they are kind of like those people who were gripping, the side of a mountain because they are about to start sliding down the face of it. And they're starting to recognize, as more information comes out, they're starting to recognize that really they almost are not up for the task. This is the thing, okay? One of the things that I think a lot of people find frustrating, and I don't want to say with the Republican Party, but I do want to say almost with the movement that was created with the Tea Party, because they really are kind of the root of where the sort of the Republican Party really started deviating from perhaps what they originally were. And I get that what they have become now is not American, frankly. It's really not. They have twisted and convoluted things. They have become emboldened in ways that government officials never should. But one of the things that has happened is that as they have become more and more aggressive, Democrats have really, really sort of tried to hold the line and stay civil and professional and politically correct, for lack of a better word. And so sometimes people get frustrated because they want the Democrats to act more like Republicans. And I guess sometimes Republicans get upset because they wish that the Republicans, who are not Tea Partiers or have not got involved in that energetic swirl, were a little bit, more like Democrats just in terms of behavior. But energy, the two seem to be almost like maintaining and holding their own energies. And so as a result, what has happened is you have one group of people who have been able to continue to work diligently, gain respect. You've got a great deal of the media, and you've got countries around the world, their intelligence organizations, etc., their journalists, etc., really trying to support the side that is trying to get to the truth and move things forward. And then you have this other group of people who have gone farther and farther and farther out on a limb, and frankly, they're going to fall off the edge. I mean, eventually that cliff runs, you run out of space, and now you're running in air and you fall and go into the canyon. So you've got two very, very different energies here, and in some way they really are in a bit of a battle for supremacy here. So anticipate that. Anticipate more of sort of kind of like a gentle but forceful push forward on one side, and kind of a belligerent and deranged and really I don't even have a word for it, kind of behavior on the other side that really just doesn't bear almost, I want to say, any resemblance to anything your country has ever witnessed. Certainly in countries like North Korea and Russia, they know this behavior, they know this attitude. But places like the United States really don't, or certainly have not to the extreme that you are now seeing it now, where literally across your country, if you are not like us, you must be destroyed. That is the energy that has become amplified, and that is the energy that needs to be pushed back against so that it does not continue to manifest. You're going to see strong people, people of conviction, people of strength and political savvy and understanding the right and rule of law, as opposed to the might of law. Because the might of law is actually quite cruel. And so you're going to continue to see more and more of this sort of division as these two groups kind of struggle and jockey for position. There are going to be offers made to Trump. He is not going to want to take them. He is, in the background, behind the scenes, what we don't know about. People are trying to talk to him. They're trying to reason with him. They're trying to get him to settle down and stop making things worse for himself. But Trump is, inch by inch, foot by foot, and word by word, inching himself towards this tower moment. And I think when we look back over time, we are going to say January of 2020 was the tower. But remember this. When a building collapses, okay, that isn't the end of it. In some ways, it's almost the beginning, right? Because now you have, first of all, that huge billow of dust and debris that's flying around in the air. And that has to be allowed to settle just so you can actually see clearly what the heck is left. And what the heck is left is rubble. And then you have to start cleaning out the rubble, and you have to start salvaging the pieces that are worth salvaging, and basically continuing to destroy, decompress, break down the pieces that are not. So I guess what I'm saying to you is, for any of you who are hoping that January 2020 is sort of one and done, you might want to start preparing yourself for the fact that it is not going to be fast, fast, fast and chop, chop, chop. It's a process. And there are reasons why processes work. It's because as it moves forward and it moves along, more and more people kind of get on the same page, right? And they start to understand things that maybe they didn't understand before, and that creates momentum moving forward. And frankly, the Democrats continue to need that momentum, because the more momentum they gain, the more understanding that they're able to get out there, and that people are able to, talk to their neighbors and their friends and their family, and more information is coming out, you then lessen the risk of sort of a volatile situation emerging, because with knowledge and understanding comes clarity. And with lack of understanding and lack of knowledge, you have fear. And fear creates discord, disharmony, and ultimately violence. So don't become frustrated by the process. There are reasons why the process must evolve the way it needs to. For those of you who just want this to be over and cannot believe how Trump has gotten away with what he has gotten away with, in fact, you can't even still figure out exactly how the heck he ended up in the White House, I understand, and absolutely share your frustration and horror and embarrassment. But there's a whole bunch of people who are still sort of sitting kind of in the middle of the road, and maybe they don't have clarity on this. Maybe they've been kind of busy with their lives, and they need to get on board. And as time unfolds, that is giving them the opportunity to do this. So, information is going to continue to move forward. Trump, who is represented here by the Seven of Swords as trying to steal and thieve, he is now represented here as the Five of Swords, where for right now, he may think he has the power and the spoils, but people are walking away from him. Okay? He is not holding his position, because the tower is upon him and he is literally losing strength. And the hope and the desire, and in fact the need for the country, is that the two opposite sides start to move towards each other and find somewhere in the middle where they can meet. Because that is really the only way that you're going to see a healing that takes place in the country. So, anticipate a January that combines stress, anxiety, and really erratic behavior, and logic, common sense, law, and the clarity and understanding that comes with that. And I'm just going to cut the cards, just sort of, I'm not going to reshuffle, I'm just going to cut them. And I just have one more quick question, and that question is this thing going to go to a Senate hearing? Is the Senate actually going to start their hearing process in January? Okay. So intuitively, I want to tell you that it may start, and it looks like that may begin kind of, I want to say almost like middle of January, possibly even later than that, because as much as you see the Republicans trying to do this stand firm and we're just going to rush it through and rubber stamp it, you still have Trump screaming in the background about, you know, a dog and pony show, basically, right? I mean, he wants the theatrics, and they're trying to calm him down. They're trying to say, okay, well, if we give you this, you know, but you have to not expect that. And it's really, honestly, it's not working. Okay. And, expect and anticipate that you're going to see not only Nancy Pelosi, but other women, frankly, playing a powerful role. Some of them may very well be behind the scenes, but you are going to see, again, women stepping into that place of power and authority as this process sort of unfolds. And when it does, it's not going to be good. And don't forget that I have said for a while now, and that energy, for as far as I can feel it, has not changed. I anticipate that there are going to be some information, some breaking news stories, some things that are uncovered that are really, really not going to show Trump in a good light. And as hard as it is to believe, there are actually depths yet that he has not sunk to, or perhaps that we just don't know about. So there's going to be some interesting developments over the course of January. So enjoy the balance of your holiday. Enjoy the last few days. Welcome in the new year with light, love, hope, and then know that the work starts. It really does. Okay. So, again, for any of those of you who are interested in seeing the channeled message, it should be on your feed, and it's going to be just before this one. So I hope you enjoy that. And once again, I will let you know that readings are available. That information is in the box below. And we are looking mid to late January right now. So if that's something you're interested, take a look at that. Okay. So thank you very, very much. Enjoy the last day, or the second last day of the month and the year and the decade. And know that there's a significant change of energy coming in 2020. And frankly, it's going to be a little bit of hard work. There's going to be a little bit more reality to it, unless, kind of craziness. Craziness. But you're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. And ultimately, the end of the road takes us to a much, much better place. Take care. Be well. And I'll see you soon. Bye.